Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm going to be checking out Fossil's stuff, Smoky's S1 racing frame, and it says here that the Fossil stuff S1 is a Smoky FPV's signature frame. Why don't I have a signature frame? It says here at the end of 2017 it was clear that the Revo 5 was becoming less competitive, so I think the Revo 5 is the one with the cables around the edge. Although it had a great season with some incredible results, it seemed that it was just not light enough. You know I love a lightweight frame. Smoky requested a lighter frame, and with his valuable input we came up with the S1. And yeah, this is why I don't have a signature frame, because look, this guy is winning races here. So yeah, I think it's more than just the frame that wins races, but I think having a lightweight setup for a race is important here. So let's see, it says 68 grams with camera protection, so that is fairly lightweight. Let's get and take a look at what you get in the package. So just rip that off there. Oh man, gonna need some scissors. Let's have a look what you get in this. Bunch of stickers. Let's have a look here. Oh, loads of stickers. Got a battery strap here with Fossil stuff on it. It's the grippy kind that I like. You've got all of the bits. Let me just get everything out here. So we have got the bottom and middle plate to sandwich in the arms. We have a camera protection plate and the top plate, and all of those are 2mm thick carbon. And then we have got the arms here. We have chamfered edges on one side, but not the other, I don't think. Seems like really nice quality, and you're given 5 of those, which is a very nice touch. We have got 4 anodized standoffs here and a bunch of bolts, and those are a 2mm hex driver. And we have a foam battery mat. Now, my preference is to have silicone for the material, because in my experience the foam doesn't do a great job at stopping your battery from being thrown, so I will probably end up using a silicone mat and not this one. Well, that was really easy to put together. I just have a couple of notes really. So these nuts here that are holding in the arms, they are not locking, so you're going to want to make sure that you use Loctite. I would say I prefer locking nuts myself. I think the reason why locking ones haven't been used here is to get the weight down. So I have weighed this, and it does weigh exactly 68 grams with this camera protector on here, and then it's a couple of grams more for your standoffs. So that's another thing I wanted to mention. So if we look underneath here, you cannot access the holes for your 30 by 30 standoffs, so make sure that you put those in before you put this sandwich plate on there. These are my own standoffs, by the way. The kit does not come with your stack standoffs. It does have 20 by 20 holes in there as well. And you can see here that the camera is just designed to sit on the mount that you get given with the HS1177. There's just one thing in the build notes, and that is to say that when you put this middle plate on, that you make sure that you have it the right way around, because you can see the standoffs there, they sit slightly backwards, and that is so your camera doesn't touch your stack when you have it at a high angle. I know some of the camera protection guys are not going to like the fact that the camera is all exposed here, so if you have a crash from the underneath, then you know it's going to take your camera out. That's never really bothered me, but you know I don't do a lot of racing, and you know you're always going to be able to smash your camera up no matter how much protection you have if something goes down the center. And usually I find that it's the arms, the motors, the props that hit before the camera, and you have to be really unlucky for it to hit the camera, but it can happen. So you know, I thought I would mention we have minimal camera protection here. And One thing I thought was interesting as well is how wide this top part is here. You're not going to have any problems sticking a GoPro on there. There's quite a lot of cutouts on here though, which, you know, might reduce how strong the thing is, but, you know, it feels really strong, sturdy and rigid, and yeah, I don't have many complaints about it. So the next thing to do is get some components on here and take it for a fly. Okay, so I admit it, this is a little bit of a cheat because I have taken the components from another model and just transplanted it. So we have got the Emax RS2306, they are the 2750 kV motors, and I always wanted to know how fast this combination would perform. I didn't have my speed trap set up at the time I built this, so hopefully I'm going to be able to take a look at that today. And then, even though this frame is designed for the 4-in-1 ESC, these are actually the ESCs from the Holy Bro X1, because I switched them out, but they seem to work fine on this model, but I was getting sort of like, you know, jitters with the original one. And then the flight controller is the Kakute F4 all-in-one, so it's the PDB version with Betaflight on-screen display. I've got an XM Plus receiver there, and I have stuck a low ESR capacitor on the back there as well for noise. And then we have got some generic cheap, I think it might even be an Ishin VTX, doesn't have this smart audio. And then the camera up the front here, it is the Foxeer Mini, and that fits on there pretty nice. So they give you 2 screws to screw in this camera plate here, but I actually used one of those screws to secure in the camera on this mount, and that seems to fit pretty nicely. And one thing that impressed me about this frame is usually when you have these 2 nuts and screws here, you get movement in the arms. There is absolutely no movement with this whatsoever, and this has turned out really light at just 300 grams. I would say that was really light for the 2.3 stator motor. And then we just have got a Omway antenna coming up the top there, and the props. So these are the dowel prop, so the Cyclone, and they are the 54E6. So unfortunately the weather is not playing ball at the moment. We have got 20 mph winds gusting, and that is facing directly into the direction of the speed trap. So whichever sort of direction I fly in, it's not going to give an accurate speed. So that's straight into wind there, and 90 mph, and this is with a 1300 milliamp battery. And yeah, it sort of hovered around that speed. One thing I can take away from these speed tests is that we really shouldn't be flying on 1300 milliamp batteries. The 1500 milliamp batteries can provide so much more amps, and in general it doesn't really matter regarding which battery you use either, because, you know, the C rating of a battery is a multiple of its capacity. So the 1500 milliamp batteries with the same C rating as a 1300 milliamp battery can provide more amps, and in general every copter that I have tried it with, regardless of the motor combination, the props, it goes faster. Look at that, 97 mph. This is with the 1500 milliamp. So yeah, these components, funnily enough, they are coming up to a year old. I think I did the original build of this model in July of last year. So it goes to show you that things haven't changed that much. So we have smart audio now and things like that, but yeah, it's funny because when I did this build with the 2.3 stator motor, people were like, why would you use those motors? And now like every motor everyone's using is a 2.3 stator. And even though it's a really windy day here and the props are lower pitched than those Emax ones that I reviewed previously, you know, I'm still not seeing great gains from the 2.3 stator, so I'm still gonna stick with my opinion that the 2.3 stator is overkill, I think, certainly for the lightweight racing models. And sure, you know, if you aren't happy with how it's performing with the GoPro, then maybe, you know, go for the highest data, but you know, it's really going to be heavy on your battery. So I'm going to be sticking with the 2207 and the 2206 motors for 5-inch, I think. And that is just my opinion. Anyways, what do I think about this frame? Well, I spoke to Martin from Fossil Stuff at the Mini Air Show 4, and he said, it's just a frame. And he's right, it's really difficult to say much about frames, but, you know, these components flew really nice on this frame, and it went really quick, you know. It was easy to tune. The only thing I will say is you can see the camera protection plate at the top there, you know, that is in view. But other than that, yeah, you know, it's a nice frame, and it, you know, it's not going to break the bank. I think it's about £43, so, you know, middle of the range when it comes to price and stuff, and I think it's a pretty nice package. As for the components that I'm using on this, I think it stands up today. I think the only thing I would change out would be the ESCs for some 32-bit ones, and probably the VTX, because, you know, there's a little bit of noise on this one here, and it's very cheap. I'd switch it out for one with smart audio, and there's plenty of those around at the moment. I really like the Unify Race, actually, over the Pro, and they do an MMCX version now, so I'll probably get that one. And I really like the Tramp as well, with all of its NFC capabilities. But there you go, that is my review of the Fossil Stuff Smoky S1. I'll link everything in the below, and as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.